What's up, YouTubers? I want to make a video tonight. I got a comment that's about an hour ago. I got a comment about a video I made a long time ago about carrying cash out of the United States. The commenter was asking me about how can they use asset forfeiture to take your money if you declare it. I don't know when this happened, but I read an article today. This gentleman from Louisiana did a domestic flight. He went into the airport. He declared $30,000, and he thought everything was okay. They told him everything was okay to let him keep the money. That's at the TSA. Then he went to his gate to get his flight, and then at the gate of his flight, the DEA came out and took his money. And since then, he hasn't been able to get it back. Now, according to this article, he hired a public interest law firm. And that's probably why I was reading the article. But they were just pointing out, even if you declare it, you have to declare anything over $10,000. Excuse me. And even if you declare it, the DEA can still take your money and you still can't get it back. Well, in his case, he might get it back. Anyways, these laws in the United States were asset forfeiture laws when you take out cash and then take it on an airplane, like internationally or even domestically. It can be troublesome, and it's even more troublesome because sometimes if you take $2,000 or $3,000, they let you on through. There's other cases where you take $2,000 or $3,000 and they don't let you through. They just take your money. My advice is always, if you have to take a large amount of cash, don't fly internationally and go to one of the adjacent countries. It used to be Canada and Mexico were both okay. I would go to Mexico and then continue on to Guatemala and then get on the plane if I had to. But in general, I don't recommend traveling large amounts of cash anymore unless you're flying out of, let's say, Central America to another destination that's like a developing country. I just wouldn't take a chance. There's so many countries now that have the same laws as the U.S. where you have to declare anything over $10,000. And if you don't, they take your money. Now, as an example, I think in Singapore and Hong Kong, you can take out up to $100,000. I want to say in Austria, I think it's $10,000, but I thought it was higher, but then they lowered it, but I'm not sure. But I do know that trying to take out $50,000 or $100,000 in cash in Western countries is going to be problematic, and you're just going to have trouble. So if I had to transfer a lot of money and had to do it discreetly, I would have a law firm. I would wire my money to a law firm, pick it up when I got to the law firm, pick it up as in get an ATM card or get cash if it's not a large amount or whatever. Or you can buy a lot of Bitcoin, but in most centralized exchanges, when you buy Bitcoin, you have to show your ID, so it's not exactly private. So you could do that. You could do a combination of all those things. It used to be a long time ago you could buy a reloadable ATM card and you didn't have to give your ID or social security number. That's kind of over now, at least in the U.S. At least that's my understanding. Almost every reloadable ATM card I've ever come across, you have to ID yourself. So you might as well just use your own bank. So things in the USA are not getting better. I put it that way. I saw like today. There's a lot of bad news. And I would say it may not get any better. You may need to, if you're going to leave, stay. If you're going to stay. But from everything I see, things are not getting better. And I need a haircut. A little long back there. Anyhow, I'm not sure what to really say. I would just say, if you can, get a portable income where you can go anywhere and you can earn income. If you're able to swing it and you want it, get a residency somewhere. And, I was in one of my Facebook groups. They were talking about Mexico. They were talking about AMLO and immigration coming from Central America into the States, and they're talking about Americans going to Mexico and not getting the residence permits. There's quite a few Americans who don't get the residence permits. And I was just going to comment that if I understood right, AMLO can't do much about any of this. And my point would be, if you want to live in Mexico or Central America and you want to live off-grid and you don't necessarily want to get like a residence visa and you don't want to get the tourist visa that lets you stay there for 6 months and then you don't want to go back to the States, you can still do that. In my opinion, you'll be able to do that for a long time. But we'll have to see how things go. But from everything I've ever experienced in Central America and Mexico, they have a hard time doing anything there. And some things are actually getting kind of easy. There's a lot more apps in Mexico where you can get apps. All you have to do is get an address, and you can get a card, like an ATM card sent to you. And you can go online and pay all your bills, and you can have money sent from the U.S. to this ATM card. Now, that's not really private. If you figure out how to get this card, like use your girlfriend's address, get the card, and use her bank account to fund the card to pay your bills, it's a little bit more private. What am I trying to say is I'm just trying to say there's a lot more apps now where if you learn to use them in a clever way, you don't even really need, you can kind of live there and work there, and you don't really even need ID for the most part. Now, obviously, that's going to change over the years, but if you're an entrepreneur or business person and you have a lawyer, or if you don't have a lawyer, you have a girlfriend or wife do these things for you, or a friend, you can mostly stay under the radar. It's really not hard. It's really not difficult at all. And in my opinion, from what I've been experiencing and reading about in the States, it's better to start making these changes now than later. I really don't know what's going on much anymore. My friend in LA told me that in the United Kingdom they're going to have a vaccine passport. And then he told me they just got rid of that. They're not going to have a vaccine passport. And then maybe in 3 or 6 months, maybe they'll change that, and then there will be a vaccine passport. I don't know, but I can tell you, more and more countries are probably you're going to have the vaccine card just to fly internationally, and then more and more to go into malls, banks, stuff like that. In first world countries, you'll probably have to have it. Not everyone, I don't know. We'll have to see how it comes. We'll have to see how it turns out. But it seems like that's the direction it's going. So if you don't want to live with that kind of a lifestyle, then you're going to have, and you're in the States or in Europe, you're going to have to move to a more rural location, in my opinion, and do the best you can there. Or, alternatively, you can come to Latin America or Asia, Eastern Europe, South America, where, pick where you want to go. And either get a residency or don't. All I can tell you is, in my experience in the last 5 years, which is mainly limited to Central America, Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, and Mexico, things are not that strict. People think things are pretty strict, but they're really not. The last time going through the border from Guatemala to Mexico, that's the first time I've ever seen them on the highways carding people for ID as you go towards the Mexican border. And then when I got across the Mexican border, right into southern Mexico, I had to show my ID 2 times. Now, my opinion is if you got your ID stolen and you reported it stolen and you got a police report, that would be good enough. That's just my opinion. You got to do what you think is best in these situations. But in general, if you don't have ID, you can go to the municipalities in these Latin countries, get a report that says your passport stolen, so you'll give whatever name you give. If you remember the passport number, all that kind of jazz, you can fill all that out. And then they'll give you a piece of paper. And then, when people are asking why you don't have your ID, you show them that piece of paper. If you're really clever, you can have ancillary ID and have all the names match. That's probably even better, and you can travel that way. Now, again, I'm not saying you can do that to cross the international border. I'm just saying you can walk across the border, at least from certain borders right now. There's no one stopping you from walking across. But when you get across, when you're in your public transportation, they'll ask you for your ID. It used to be only for Latins. Now they're asking even the gringos. I don't know what they do if you didn't have it. And I think personally, you either give them 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 bucks, or you give them that police report and 20 bucks, or you just see what happens. My feeling is not much is going to happen, but I can't say for sure. Anyhow, if you're going to come down, get established, come down and get established, and in your little sphere of influence where you live, you'll soon see, unless you need to go to the bank to do something, you don't really need any ID for anything. And I don't think these things are going to be enforced that much in Central or even South America. Now, again, I don't know. I'm thinking about doing some traveling in the next few months to South America and seeing how things are there. But part of the reason I like Central America is things are really relaxed, things are not regulated. It's the same in Mexico. Now, it depends what part of Mexico you're in, but once you're in Mexico, once you got your apartment established, same in Guatemala, once you're paying your bills, like you don't need ID to go to the market. Some places will ask you for ID to rent an apartment. It just depends. But there's just so many workarounds for all those things that it's nothing I really worry about, because I'm getting questions sometimes about, like, what are we going to do? Where are we going to go? And I just say there's always options if you look for them. Anyways, I'm going to upload this, see if there's any comments, and see where people are at. I just keep seeing the news in the States, and it's getting bizarre and more bizarre and more bizarre. And what I can say, the most important thing for the viewers, if you can, get a portable income you can do anywhere in the world, to have a way of getting paid that's not through the U.S. banking system or the European banking system, either through crypto or through a nominee account in whatever country you're already in. In other words, like your lawyer, your accountant, your girlfriend, and set those systems up, test them out to make sure they work, and then have alternative ways that people can pay you. And at least for the next 20, 30 years, you'll be okay. Anyways, I can't see much. Well, I can see it getting worse, but I just can't see it happening really fast in Central and South America. Asia is a little different. Asia is more nationalistic, but even in places like Cambodia, Philippines, even a little bit in Thailand, I can't see them going down that road, but you never know. And I still keep an eye on that because I still have interest in the Philippines, but we'll just have to see. It seems like more countries are going towards kind of a tyranny type situation, but Latin America seems like the last place where they can enforce all these silly rules. Again, that's my opinion, but anyhow, I'm going to upload this video. And wait for comments. And let me know what's going on in your country. I'm looking for good channels. If you have any good channels on like Colombia or Brazil, leave them in the comments. I'm looking for good content to do some research on, if I head down that way. Anyways, thank you. Have a good evening.